This is Ruhul Amin, EducationUSA Outreach Coordinator at the EMK Center. So I am here with you to talk about the statement of purpose, writing tips, and strategy. So I'm really glad to be part with this scientific congress named BIMSSCON 2020 virtual, and I am wishing a very best of luck on 16th and 17th October. So before going into the presentation, let me give you a brief about my organization, EducationUSA. What we do, EducationUSA offer guideline and support to the students, those who would like to pursue their bachelor, master's, and PhD program in US University. So the slogan of EducationUSA is your official source of higher education in the US. So EducationUSA is a global network supported by the US government. The slogan of the EducationUSA is your official source on higher education in the US, and EducationUSA have 400 locations in 171 countries all over the world. In Bangladesh, we have 4 different locations in 3 different cities. So I am representing Edward M. Kennedy Center here. So Edward M. Kennedy Center is a hub for young generation, especially in Bangladesh. The mission of this center is to engage, inspire, connect, and empower citizens of all ages, races, and socioeconomic backgrounds to better themselves. So if you would like to improve your professional and personal development, then EMK Center would be the best platform to get in touch with. So let's begin the presentation. So give me a moment to share my slide. Okay. So what we have today, we have 5 different topics to cover. And the first one is understanding the SOP and its types and importance. Then I will show you some real SOP questions from different websites of US universities. And then I will give you details about how to write a winning SOP. And then I will give you a 9 steps guide to walk you through to write an outstanding SOP. And finally, I'll show a good SOP example that I got from one of my students who went to Chevening scholarship in UK in public health. So let's start. So what is SOP, the statement of purpose? So in the name, you can see in SOP, you have to explain your purpose. What purpose? Your educational and career purpose. So if you communicate with other person or in business or personal relationship, you have 3 medium. One is verbal, and the second one is written, and third one is activity. So you have 3 options to prove your qualities to other people. But in SOP, you have only one tool, and which is writing. So SOP is a written description about your purpose of education and explaining what has influenced your academic and career path so far. And also SOP is your professional interest and where you plan to go from here in the future. And in the SOP, you can also address questions through anecdotes, stories, and by describing somebody you admire in your professional and private life. So we all have drawbacks, some good side and some bad side in our life. But in the SOP, you have to portray your best possible self. And this is the SOP. So, and again, for the more clarification, SOP is not a letter and it's not an autobiography. And this is not a resume in prose and not a plan. And what it is, it has an introduction, body of the paper, and conclusion. So the types of SOP is, if you are planning to apply for masters, then you have to write some sort of SOP. But if you are planning to apply for PhD, then you have to write SOP focusing on the research only. So let's say you want to be a good researcher in future, then PhD would be your best destination for your higher education, and you have to focus the research interest and the passion of research that you have. But for masters, you have two options: the research-based masters and professional masters program. So for the research-based masters, you have to focus the research interest and passion in your SOP. But if you are planning to apply for professional masters program, like masters in public health, then you need to focus your career plan and your professional target in the future in your SOP, okay? And the third one is some SOP are in a specific field like medical, business, law, engineering, and medicine. And the fourth one is some SOP are for specific programs. So these are the four types for your understanding about SOP. So for getting the more clarification, there are a sharp difference between undergraduate and graduate SOP, graduate essay actually. So graduate means masters and PhD, and undergraduate means bachelor here. So statement of purpose is for masters, and that is to represent your picture of your personality. Like you can show your academic credential by your CV, where you can mention your grades, your GRE score, your USMLE score, or your IELTS score. But to show your passion and interest, your dedication, you cannot show any documentation, right? So you have to explain, and this is the part that you can get to explain your inner self through this writing on the SOP. And personal statement is for undergraduate. So personal statement is for is to highlight your accomplishment, experiences, and potential future plan. So let's move on to the next slide. More differences between undergrad and graduate essay writing. So we call SOPs for graduate essay and personal statement for undergraduate essay. So normally US University is looking for students in undergrad, those who are well-rounded and who would be a good fit to build a community of creative interactives. And the undergraduate students don't have to have that skill of academic strength, interest, and especially for undergraduate students, they have to show the extracurricular activities as well. But for graduate students, school look for the best minds in the subject area. That means you have to show an expertise of your on your subject area, and especially university want to be sure that you are a dedicated students of your field who will be able to do difficult coursework, experience in your field work and research, etc. Okay. So before going into the importance of SOP, I'd like to show you a website where the US University instructing how to write SOP. So here you can see Masters of Public Health letters, Masters of Public Health Statement of Purpose FAQ. The first question is, what should be my statement of purpose? They answered this. You can use your statement of purpose to explain your background in public health, why you want to pursue an MPH degree, and what you plan to do with your MPH. It is reasonable if you are not 100% clear on what you want to do when you graduate, but it helps to provide some sense of why you are interested in this degree. And the second question is, if there are some weaknesses in my application, is the statement of purpose a good place to explain those? They answered this here as well. Yes, you can definitely explain any known weaknesses in your application in your statement of purpose. And should my statement be specific to these universities? University of San Francisco. Yes. So if you are planning to apply a particular university, you need to mention why you choose this university as well. Okay, so I'm stopping the share here and I'm going back to the presentation again. So how important is the SOP is? So the importance of SOP varies from school to school. Not all colleges and universities require them, yeah, but most of the competitive universities are requiring SOP for their graduate admission, especially if you'd like to apply for with a scholarship. Then beside your test score, IELTS score, and grades, they would like to see your SOP to assess your application. So in the total application package, US university officials spend almost 33% of their time to assess your SOP, because this is the most important application tool to judge your application in that university. So some less or moderately competitive schools want to establish that the students can write in a competitive manner. And I have already said that competitive schools, they consider SOP is a very important tool. And then finally is schools concerned about to polish essays. So you need to be careful before submitting the final SOP. Then what's important, uh, before writing the SOP, you need to invest a good amount of time on the university website. Like I showed in a website where they gave a details instruction about writing SOP. So on the university website, you have to see what is their mission and what is their vision, especially, and what types of students they are looking for in their PhD or master's program. So if in the website, especially in the departmental website, you can easily find out that what types of students they are looking for. Maybe they will look for a good professional who have a good qualities of leadership or communication, or who are especially dedicated to research. So you can easily find out 3 or 4 qualities that they are looking for. So in that SOP, you need to cover on that 4 qualities to prove yourself you are a good fit students for this for the university. Picture of your overall personality, and then academic background and work experience continuity, commitment and motivation. So commitment and motivation is not a thing to prove by the document or video or audio. Is a thing that you need to explain with your rational mind and compassionate attitude. So then the next one is communication skills. Communication skills is very important here. If I ask you to give an real life example, like that you have to show that you are a very hardworking person, then you are telling me that you are doing an office 6 days in a week in Gulshan 2 area, but your home is in Savar, and you are going to office every day from Savar to Gulshan. So let's say I am an admission official and I live in US and I don't have any experience about Bangladesh, and I don't know the communication and transportation process, transportation system in Bangladesh. So am I able to understand your hardworking mentality by this description? Definitely not. So what you have to do, you have to mention the distances and the time that takes to to go from Savar to Gulshan, and how much traffic jam you have to face in that area to move from your home to your office. So this is how you can give a snapshot of the challenges that you are facing to do your office work. Then I can understand the difficulties of your then I can understand the intensity of your hard working. So sometimes you have to have that common sense to make the other people understand how things is going on in your life. Okay, so this is one kind of communication skill example I have given. And the second one is writing style. So people have their own writing style. Like some people used to use small sentences with simple small sentences with simple sentence, like not for complex or compound. For example, I can mention the prominent writer in Bangladesh, Humayun Ahmed, and many of the students who spent their childhood reading J.K. Rowling's novel about like Harry Potter. So these are the example of a good readable book. Like if you write something with a readability, then people will read your material and read your writing very well. Then you can get their attention very easily. So you need to fix, or you need to think deeply that which style you can follow, or which style suits your tone and your personality. Then you can write your SOP with simple sentence if you want, But if you feel like only simple sentence make my writing very monotonous, then you can add complex sentence or compound sentence if it fits in the writing. Okay. Then correct spelling and good grammar. I don't have to explain why this is important, because this is the representation of your professionalism. And then proper format and neatness. Most of the university will explain what would be the format of writing. They will instruct you to write at least 2 or 3 page, and the font will be 12 and Times New Roman, and the spacing also will be instructed in the website in most cases. But if not, then you can follow the standard spacing in the document. Then organizing the content. Then working on your essay, carefully read the question, read all the essay instructions in the application form. Like if you are applying to any university, either US or outside of the US, in their application form, there will be a certain instruction. Sometimes they will add some question to answer. Maybe they will add 2 or 3 questions to describing like why you are passionate about studying in public health or any other subject, and why you are choosing this university, and why you are planning to come to abroad with to pursue this degree. This sort of question they will ask, and you need to answer. But some university will not ask any specific question. Maybe they will directly instruct you to write a statement of purpose. So research and additional material on the topic. Like I have said it earlier that you have to invest a good amount of time to research the university and research other relevant topics. Like what are the burning topic relevant to your field, and what are the areas that most prominent researcher in the world are currently working in your field. Okay, so this sort of thing that you can research before starting the SOP. Invest enough time to brainstorm questions and compose several drafts, write a final version, and revise and edit the essay. Okay, then here are some sample questions that the university might ask in the application form. The first one you can see, what makes you unique among applicants applying for the same program or institute? Why should an admission committee select you? And then why are you interested in this particular field? How have you learned about the field? Through classes, reading seminars, work experience, conversation, etc. What skill, talents, or personal characteristics do you possess which improve your chances for success in this field? And how can you contribute to the program? Structure tips. Short is better than long. Okay. Let's say, for example, we scrolled our home feed on the Facebook or Instagram. Oftentimes we see that post that are simple to read, like short sentence but long paragraph. We are tempted to initiate reading it, but if we see any post with long sentence, then simply we ignore this post. So this is the common mentality of our generation especially, or many of us, because the attention span is decreasing day by day. So the shorter sentence is better in your SOP. And in the SOP, you have to have an introduction, then body of the paper, and conclusion. But let's say you got a question to write your SOP, then the first thing you can do is to understand the question. Then you can write some key points on your phone or any notepad, like what are the things that you will include in that paper. Then after completing the key points, then you can write down the key points in details. Then later you can add the introduction and conclusion. This is how you can work as well. Okay, I'm going to the next point. First sentence are very important to catch the reader's attention. Yeah, this is very important. Like if you start a sentence with a very catchy topic or a very attractive tone, then the readers will feel interested to go on to the next details. Okay, so next one is remember the formula, one idea, one paragraph. So let's say an university instructed you to write a SOP based on the question. If I take a question, let's say why you are interested in this particular field. So let's say you are applying to Masters in Public Health program. So they're asking why are you interested in this particular field. So if you answer this question, you need to start with a introduction. Then in the body paragraph, you can you can mention like 3 reasons. So in the first paragraph, you can you can describe the first reason, and in the second paragraph you can describe the second reason, and the third paragraph you can describe the third reason. So this is how you can conclude the total SOP by mentioning a conclusion. So one paragraph, one idea. Okay, so I have seen so many students write an SOP, and in one paragraph they mention at least 6 skills: communication skills, leadership skills, intellectual ability, critical thinking. So all these are statement, no supporting evidence or no supporting example, or not any relevant believable example in that paragraph. So don't do that. Choose one idea in a paragraph and support that idea through the whole paragraph. Okay, then move to the next paragraph. This is how you can start the SOP writing. Transition from one paragraph to another. So this is kind of a smooth journey from one paragraph to another. Let's say you mention something in your second paragraph about your skills, but in the third paragraph you are totally going to another direction. So this is this system or approach will break the attention of the readers. So don't do that. Try to make a correlation with one paragraph to another. Then the reader will feel comfortable to read your SOP. Okay, so writing strategy, theme, and content. Especially what are the things that you can do. Take a lot of time. So SOP is totally mind game, and you have to think a lot before finalizing the SOP. So don't rush. Give enough time. Read the question carefully and follow the recommended length, and write an original essay that is based on experience, personal experience or observation. Write about something important to you. So here I can mention, before writing an SOP, you think it first. Don't take help from others. Prepare something, a scratch or a very rough draft, but don't take help from Google or don't see others SOP first. Try to brainstorm yourself and try to prepare a draft all by yourself. Then take help from Google or take help from others SOP or take help from other expert. So what I'm saying this, if you try to think all by yourself, then you will get the courage to start another SOP in later. But at the very beginning, if you take help from others, then you will not feel that courage to start the SOP. Okay, convey a positive overall image. Like I have said, we all have negative sides and positive sides in our personality, because human beings are like that. So SOP is the place to portray your best possible self. So sometimes a lot of students, especially the good students I have seen, they are facing a dilemma. Like most of them, I have asked them frankly, why you would like to study in the US. They directly say, Bhaiya, I would like to be a citizen of the US. So I want to be settled in the US. So my education would be the medium of that goal. So can you say to the admission officer directly? Obviously not. So and a lot of other students have some very frank target or very frank purpose regarding their education. But in the professional field, you cannot mention the frank ideas or frank purpose. So what you can do, you can fake the purpose until you make it. So this is the approach that you can start with. So you have enough time to finally make it the idea. Let's say you are faking some skills that you don't have right now, but you are trying to acquire that skill in your life. Then fake it until you make it. Okay. So this is how you can avoid the dilemma of pretending or faking. Okay, then keep your essay focused and do not try to mention everything you are interested in your life. Like the more specific you are, then the more fine and absolute fine and wonderful essay, SOP it will be. Okay, so don't state the vague idea like why you would like to study MPH. If you say I am very passionate about health science, that's why I'm applying in MPH. So this is a very vague and wide area to mention. So this is not a specific one. But if you mention a very like perfectly specific things like I would like to study MPH to eradicate only this tiny field of problem that the world is facing in the health sector. This is not also a good idea. So what I'm suggesting it is try to mention your goal on the SOP on a very limited and focused area. Like you would like to study MPH because you face, you have seen very health hazard, especially in Rohingya camp, because they are poor. So you'd like to eradicate, you'd like to bring something in the health sector that the poor people can have or poor people can access to get a better treatment from the medical person. So you can mention this focus area in your SOP. Okay, so be concise, get to the point, and use the active, not passive voice. Okay. So here are the other do's that you can follow. Be concrete, specific, interesting, persuasive, and like I have learned a lot versus examples of what you have learned. If you mention directly that I have learned a lot throughout this course, do not mention something like this, but rather than you can give an detailed example like what you have learned throughout this course. Okay, so next one is the be clear. My grades were good versus I was in the top 5% of the class. The second statement is very intriguing. This is how you can give a clear picture like what position you had in the class during your university life. Okay, mention achievement relevant to undergraduate, graduate admission. Mention work, volunteer or extracurricular activities that relate to your field. If you applying for TA position, mention any teaching experience. Okay. Here are some other do's that you can follow. Use the full and correct name of the program that you are applying to in the statement. Write a separate essay for each university, research each university and let them know why you want to come to the particular school. Revise your essay several times. Read your essay aloud, and this is very important because when you read something aloud, then you will find out easily that what are the flaws that you made or what are the flaws that are existed in that essay. So try to read out aloud after completing your first draft or second draft before going into the reviewing process. Then find an editor, yes, and finish the essay, forget about it for a few days, and then read it again. Okay, so next, some do not start your essay with I was born, my name is, and I am 23 years old. Do not start too many sentences with I, and do not try to second guess or flatter the admission staff. Try to strict on the tone that is usual for you. Let's say you are like a kind of serious type of person, then follow that tone in your SOP. Do not try humorous. But if you are like funny and jolly and humorous type of person, you can use that tone in your writing. But do not change your usual tone in the writing. Do not try to impress your reader with a vocabulary. Like if you use some vocabulary in your daily life, then use that. But do not try to bring some extra synonyms that you don't use in your usual life, but you are trying to impress the admission officials. Then they will easily understand that you are trying to be over smart. Do not use unnecessary words, slangs, or words that you don't know. Do not write a flowery, complicated manner. Keep it simple. Okay. And some other don'ts. Don't simply state ideas. Support them. As I have said earlier, like if I say I have a good leadership skill, so how do I know that you have good leadership skills? Support your example, support your skills. If you say that you are really good at communicating in both English and Bangla, but you are not giving an example, or you are not giving any believable scenario or incidents, then no one will understand this, no one will believe this. Okay, so this is the practice that you have to ensure. If you give any statement, you have to support that statement, but do not try to be Superman there. Try to be human and believable. Okay, so admission official will understand that people are not perfect. They have some flaws in their life. If you have any drawbacks, or if you have any bad result in your undergraduate life, mention that. But at the same time, if you mention any weaknesses in your qualities, at the same time, you have to mention what are the initiatives that you have taken to overcome that weaknesses, and how did you improve from out of these weaknesses. Okay, so if you mention any weaknesses, you have to mention the process of overcoming this weakness. Okay, supply concrete and evidence of your achievement. In senior high school, I was one of the 10 chosen from a field of 30 applicants to participate in a regional physics Olympiad held in St. Petersburg, versus I'm very good at physics. Okay, so this is the clear example how you can understand the depth of your statement. Don't patronize your readers. You do not have to explain things that you already be known by people you are writing to. Don't beg. Here you have to show your independent personality. Do not try to be desperate. Try to be grow an attitude like you have given your best, but the decision is up to the admission officials. If they are fine to accept you as their students, then you will be happy. But if they don't accept you, then you will try another options. Okay, this is the attitude that you need to show in your statement of purpose. Key ingredients that admission committee look for in the graduate SOP. So here are the 6 points that the admission officials will look into in your SOP. The first one is a clear articulation of your research and professional interest. And then what qualifies you for the program, for the proposed research, and then examples of your professional and academic success, and then your interest in the features of particular department, and a deep level of passion for the field, obviously, and skillful writing and descriptive but concise. Here about the writing, students, those who think that in the digital age, maybe we don't need any skills about writing because it's already gone, then you have a slightly bad news for you. But especially in PhD admission or research-based master's admission, the admission officials will look into your writing, okay? Because there's in their thought, they can teach you the research process. They can teach you how to teach students. They can also teach you how to check or review the exam paper of the students. But it's really difficult to teach someone how to write something. Okay, so if you already acquired the writing skill in your mind, and you have, then you are one step ahead. But those who don't have a good writing skill, don't be sad, because if you don't have the good writing skill, that you're not blocked from the PhD admission consideration or master's admission consideration. But try to grow your writing skill from today, okay? Then the full 9 steps guide how to write a winning outstanding SOP. The first one is brainstorm. Like brainstorm ideas, example of all of the essential ingredients mentioned above. Let's say you got a question to write your SOP. Then let's say, for example, this question: describe a situation when you successfully reached a goal or completed a task that was challenging, difficult, or frustrating. The first point I mentioned here is brainstorm. Then you need to brainstorm here, like in your personal life, what was most challenging, difficult, and frustrating at the same time. Then you can write down some key points on your mobile note or notepad. And this is how you can brainstorm, and you can prioritize which incidents is mostly challenging and mostly frustrating. In the brainstorming part, you can mention the first there's those key points, like what are the incidents that is mostly frustrating and challenging. Then in the key points, you are outlining the SOP. Okay, outlining means here are some instruction like star approach. So in that SOP, you need to follow a approach like star. Star means situation. You need to briefly set the scene, for example. And task means describe what was required. Action, what did you do and why? And result, what was the outcome? Let's say, for example, I have heard 2 years ago that my uncle got an accident in Tangail, and I was in Dhaka. So it was the evening time, and I got a call from my home. And so this is the scenario that I am giving here. So what was required, the task, I had to go to Tangail from Dhaka. An action, so what did I do and why I did that. So I need to mention that. And the result, what was the outcome? So I have to, I need to mention the outcome as well. So this is a scenario of example that I have given because that was very challenging for me. So you can choose any situation or incidents in your life that is most challenging, difficult, and frustrating, and follow this star approach. So you outline that that SOP, and then you write the first draft, then you edit the first edit, and then ask for feedback. Ask mentors, or you can come to us like Education USA advisor. Then we can give you a structural feedback, and we can help you to improve your essay content and structure. Then second edit, make it sparkle. Hone in on writing style concerns. Make your language lively, concise, and effective, and get the feedback again and make the final tweaks. So this is the 9 steps that you can follow to write an outstanding SOP. So last but not the least, I'd like to mention writing SOP is a way of exploring yourself. Okay, so if you write an SOP, you will feel that this is your brainchild. So if you think in this way, then you will feel very positive about writing SOP. I'm telling you, writing SOP is very tough task to do, because there are a lot of confusion and thinking that you have to come up with, and you have a lot to say in your writing, but you cannot say all those things. You need to be very concise in writing SOP. So thinking is very tough in this process. So try to be concise, and try to be like a way of self-exploring yourself. Try 2,000 word writing your SOP. If they require like 500 word, then try to minimize those words and sentences. But feel positive about this, then you will feel proactive to write the SOP. Then you will feel motivated and committed. So this is it for today. If you face any future trouble and challenges to writing SOP, I am providing my email address. If you write an SOP, you can send that SOP and for the review and communicate me with the email. Then we can have a one-to-one session and review that SOP for you, and we'll give you the necessary feedbacks if you need. Okay, so here are my email address. You can reach out to me. So thank you all. And finally, I would like to give a big thanks to the organizer of BIMSSCON. If I mention the name correctly, BIMSSCON Virtual 2020. And I'm wishing again a very best of luck for their conference in October 16th and 17th. So thank you all. I'm signing off today here. This is Ruhul Amin again. Hoping to see you in any program arranged by EMK Center or Education USA. So thank you.